Why would the state of Arkansas step in to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines? Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications. That there are many instances where...
But you know that's not true. You know it's not for everyone there's one. These are the established...
Well, I don't know that that's not true. I don't know that...
Then why would you pass a law then if you don't know that that's true? Wouldn't you?
Well,
have
I know
done
that
so?
there are doctors, and that we had plenty of people come and testify before our legislature who said that we have 98% of the young people who have gender dysphoria, that they are able to move past that, and once they have the help that they need, no longer suffer from gender dysphoria. 98% without that medical treatment.
That's an incredibly made-up figure. That doesn't comport with any of the studies or documentation that exists from these medical organizations. What medical association are you talking about of these doctors?
Well, we have all of that in our legislative history, and we'll be glad to provide that to you. I don't have the name of that off the top of my head. I know it's something that...
You don't have the name of the organization that you're getting that
off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we have all of that cited in all of our briefs.
You're suggesting that protecting children means overriding the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society.
We don't have enough data. We don't have enough to show that these drugs are effective and that these children are better off, and that we should encourage
have enough,
these.
Or it's not enough for you. Let me try and flip it a different way and see if maybe this can help. In Arkansas, if you have pediatric cancer, and obviously we all want to protect children, I think we established that earlier, whose guidelines do you follow for pediatric cancer?
Well, I think if my child, who is 4, if I was faced with that terrible decision, then I would be speaking to my doctor. And if my doctor recommended something that I disagreed with, then I would get a second opinion. And that's what I believe that these parents need to make sure that they're encouraged to get numerous opinions when they're talking about an irreversible step.
You're not letting them. The state's not saying, get another opinion. What they're saying is, you can't. What you're actually saying is the opposite. No, that's actually
not at all what the state said. The state simply said that you cannot perform these procedures, and so parents should get another opinion, and children should want to have another opinion.
But that's not...
Because again, these are 9, 10, 11, 12 year olds.
So if your child is suffering from pediatric cancer, and the state comes in and says to you, they recommend chemotherapy, but we're not going to let you do that. You can't. We think you should get a different opinion, and here's the organization we think you should get the opinion from. They're not the mainstream, but they're an organization. So that's who you have to be treated by. Does that sound like something you would accept?
I think that's a very extreme example. That's not at all in line with what we're talking about. We're not saying that at some point, because when you have cancer, it literally is, and particularly pediatric cancer, and having friends that have lost children to pediatric cancer, having a 4-year-old, I'm sure...
I've got some bad news for you. Parents with children who have gender dysphoria have lost children to suicide and depression.
They absolutely
because it's acute. And so these mainstream medical organizations have developed guidelines through peer-reviewed data and studies. And through those guidelines, they've improved mental health outcomes. So I'm confused why you follow AMA guidelines and AAAP guidelines for all other health issues than Arkansas, because we checked, but not for this.
It's simply saying, let those young people who are facing gender confusion and dysphoria, allow them to become adults and to make that decision. Allow a child to be a child.
So here's where we have our crossroads. You've made the determination that protecting these children means not giving them access to the guidelines and care that have been designed by medical and mental health professionals for children expressing gender dysphoria. And I'm asking you again, what are your qualifications to step in and say, no, keeping you from that care is protecting you. You've made that determination.
Well, these are irreversible decisions that these children at these young ages are making, or that their
They're
parents
not
are
making
making.
a decision. You're making it sound like a 9-year-old walks into a doctor's office and says, give me some testosterone. And the doctor goes, oh, thank God, because we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy. And they go right in like,
No, we passed a law to protect the children in Arkansas, and I think that's what is important.
again, the medical community disagrees with you that
Well,
that's
not
protecting
all of the
children.
medical community.
Who doesn't?
We have had experts testify here in Arkansas.
Okay, from what medical organizations?
Well, we have all of those in our briefs, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared to have a Supreme Court argument today in front of you, but we are going to have arguments on this case
Right.
when the time comes.